Howard Lindzon is the founder and general partner at Social Leverage. All opinions expressed by Howard and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Social Leverage or StockTwits. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for decisions. Guests may maintain positions and securities discussed in this podcast.
Hey everybody, special episode of Lindzanity. I have my daughter, my one and only daughter, Rachel Lindzon here to talk about Gen Z. And then I have my, I'm not going to say my favorite nephew, but he's good looking. And no one thought he was an ugly baby. And his name's Jeremy Bernick, and he's a go-getter. And Rachel and Jeremy, are the children of twins. And so we're going to talk about that and a few other things on today's episode. I have my daughter, Rachel Lindzon, and my nephew, Jeremy Bernick. This may be the first podcast of its kind because they were born of two twins, or a twin. I don't know if they call it two twins.
Yeah, you
probably two twins.
Look at the way you answer that, jinx, on time. So I think it's kind of weird because I'm not playing favorites. But you happen to be in town, school. You guys just finished your junior year, I believe,
right.
Both of you.
Right.
You and you're kind of best friends for what a boy and girl could be, and cousins. And so Rachel had a great year. So this is the reward. She's going to be on the podcast and not talk about Goldman Sachs. And then my nephew Jeremy had a great year, and they're both off to do really interesting things this summer. So I wanted to get right into that. So Jeremy, just introduce yourself quickly.
I'm Jeremy. I'm a junior at U of A. I'm studying
University of Arizona.
University of Arizona. I'm studying political philosophy and economic philosophy.
What does that mean?
It doesn't really mean anything. I just watched Chris go on, who's the deputy CIO of ASU. And it was really interesting because he had a lot of sort of nuanced points on what it's like to be a college student.
Uh-huh.
But in reality, he doesn't seem like he really knows what it's like.
Right.
You can make tuition low, and you can make the experience as entrepreneurial and as user-specific as possible, but it's still the same college degree. It's still this very regimented bureaucratic process. And so I picked something that I thought was going to be more free-form, that would allow me access to the arts, to other creative means. So I've done film, I've done philosophy,
sure.
And I've sort of expanded as much as I could to make it as modular as possible.
Yeah, so you're more on the creative side. I'm trying to think who in the family was that, because your mom's a lawyer.
Probably our grandpa.
Oh, right, Joel.
No, Bob.
Oh, okay, no jokes. Leave the jokes to me. Okay. So Jeremy, quickly,
yes.
Are you single? For the girls watching, all the ladies watching.
Yes, I'm single.
Jeremy's a bit of a womanizer. Okay. And then Rachel.
What's up?
What's up? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Rachel. I always say that my dad is more famous than I am. That gets a kick out of everyone. I'm a double major in education and anthropology, and I'm doing the entrepreneurship program at...
You just got accepted, so that's great.
At the University of Arizona for next year. So that'll be really exciting.
And this summer, what are you doing?
I'm working at a startup company called Rally Road in New York.
And what does Rally Road do?
Basically, they buy classic cars, and then they take 51% of the shares of the car, and they keep it for themselves, and then they sell 49% of it to users on the app. And the users make money off of these classic cars.
Yeah, hopefully they make money. So what's interesting is I didn't obviously help. I think I wrote a blog post about you getting into the U of A business honors, or the 1 year program. I don't know, what do they call it?
It's called the McGuire Center for Entrepreneurship.
Jerry Maguire?
Sure.
And you don't even know Jerry. She don't even get the reference, but good enough to say
Gen Z mindset.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Was the Eller before that?
Like it's in the Eller College of Management. So that's the business school at U of A, and then the McGuire Center is a separate entrepreneurship program within it. So it's like the #1 undergrad program at U of A.
Everybody thinks they're at the #1.
But
program.
It is.
I'd like to point out that U of A has the top political philosophy program in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm also a part of.
And is it lean? Is it pretty? What's the temperature like at that? those type of
It's
things?
pretty hot. So it's very odd.
Because
So
you're not political.
No, I'm not. I'm pretty ambivalent, but it is a Cato Institute program, and the Cato Institute is a very famous conservative think tank. So some of our professors are funded by like the Koch brothers and other sort of infamous characters in the right echelon of our political system.
Uh-huh.
And so with like a majority socialist, left-leaning student base of 30 kids in this program,
Uh-huh.
it's pretty like comical to watch all these kids sort of go up against these, trained professors who all have very libertarian leanings. And,
do they?
are all Ayn Rand followers and
Got it.
yeah.
So
it's very cool.
And so this summer you have a cool job.
I do.
So tell people quickly about it and how it came about.
Yeah, so I'm working for a company called Cloudflare.
What do they do?
It's probably the biggest company that no one's ever heard of.
Uh-huh.
It's an
I
internet
know 'em, but what
performance
are they?
and web optimization company, which basically means they do almost everything behind the scenes. They do routing, cybersecurity, and a bunch of specific products all the way from enterprise grade to consumer grade in order to enhance the world's internet use.
And what are you going to do for them?
I'm doing a product management internship. So I'll be
And-
working on a security platform called Access. It's an identity management system.
Uh-huh.
So basically like any remote login or SSH login system just for the sort of modern SaaS world. So it'll be similar to like Okta or any of these other modern grade identity
company.
management systems.
So yeah, and I think Cloudflare. How did you know about Cloudflare?
So I'm very involved in the sort of software development CS world in Arizona and at University of Arizona. And I got involved with a group called Hack Arizona, and it's the largest hackathon in the Southwest. It's a 1,000-person competition, 36 hours.
I remember.
And I sort of moved up the chain of command there. I got more involved, and I met someone whose older brother had worked for Cloudflare in their early days.
Uh-huh.
I think at year 2 as a technical marketing manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really interested by Cloudflare's mission because it was aiming to make the internet better. And I thought, well, that's what a perfect time for that.
Yeah.
We're in the most divisive time in the internet's history, probably.
Yeah.
And so as a person who wanted to work for something with a broader mission than just making money, I thought, this is really cool. I love the technical side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to be a part of their mission.
And so I got to do some cool uncle stuff because
Very
I didn't
cool.
know you had applied, and I think you already had an interview.
Yep.
And so you got to meet. You got to meet the CEO.
Right.
And not that it helped or anything. And what
It probably did.
and what do you hope to take away from the internship this year? Because you're 21.
Just turned 21
Yeah,
yesterday.
so you're almost the same age.
Yeah.
So you guys are a little bit ahead, I think, personally, biased. But I think pretty much everybody, all the nephews and nieces, even in Toronto, it's crazy. Like when people talk about, to me, it's like, oh, the kids today. And then I go through the list in our family of all the nieces and nephews. But I still feel you two are like weirdly ahead in a good way. So what do you want from the internship?
That's a great question. And it will probably segue into our later topics about why our generation is so far ahead and so sort of insular and so pressured.
Uh-huh.
But I think I just want to learn. I think I just want to acquire a skill set, knowledge that I didn't have before.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I'm at university, but it is so slow and it is so regimented, like I mentioned before,
Mm-hmm.
that going into like an actual business facing world, I won't be as competitive. But entering into this company this summer, I feel like I can pick
Good
up
point.
skills at a rapid fire pace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And learn actually.
I don't think
useful-
U of A is any worse or better than other
No.
colleges.
I think there's like pretty much 90% is on the same horizontal scale, and there's maybe 10% that are on a higher vertical than U of A.
Yeah.
Being the Ivies or being sort of more innovative, forward-leaning. Things like Lambda School or Khan Academy or any of these sort of online learning platforms.
And so do you guys talk about this stuff actually, or no? Do you just drink? Or a little bit of both?
I do.
So you have a peer group that talks about this
Yeah.
stuff?
Well, the beauty of university is it's not what you really pick up, it's the people you pick up there.
Yeah.
So you never in any other place do you have such a concentration of interesting, smart people with different skill sets.
Yeah.
So I can walk from one cafe and talk about film and the nuances of choosing a certain aspect ratio or something else technical,
Mm-hmm.
to walking to another cafe to talk about, microservices architectures, cloud security, all these things, and it's in this tiny bubble. Whereas in the, Phoenix, I gotta walk, or drive, all the way down or make a call. It's just not as dense.
That's interesting. And then you're a little different in the sense of what you like. So what's the passion that's driving you?
Okay, so I originally have always wanted to do business, but I got to U of A and was just unimpressed by what I was doing and was bored and didn't really want to go through the bureaucracy of what the business school was trying to make me do, and really just wanted to explore something different. So I went to summer camp and worked there for a summer. Realized that I really liked working with kids, and I really liked working with people just in general. And so I picked up education as a major. And then the next summer I went to Easter Island and I did anthropology research. And I realized again just how much I like people, and not only history, but the history of people and how we got from point A to point B. And so I picked up anthropology as a major, and entrepreneurship, seeing you do it has always been really inspiring. So I kind of wanted to apply to the McGuire Center because I thought that I could have a different take on it, and I could have a different perspective, because most of the people that apply to the McGuire Center are business students.
Yeah, so you had a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, so I wanted to just get a different edge and see what was happening. And then with Rally Road, what Jeremy said, I just want to learn more and acquire a skill set that I can take to the McGuire Center, so I can have a competitive edge there, but as well as take into the professional world and say I did these really cool things and this is how it's turned me into the person I am.
What, so do people, obviously people don't know what Rally Road is if you ask. Do kids ask what you're doing, or more just adults go, what are you doing for the summer?
No, everyone.
Is it competitive amongst your friends?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And where do they all, what's the majority want to do, tech or
It's a great question. I think it's very much centered on what your major is. So obviously, if you want to do business school, it's going to be the big four, so Deloitte, KPMG, any of those.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in CS or tech leaning, it's going to be enterprise tech or anything big right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Startup, not as much, because you can't tell your parents that it's going to pay your bills and be cool yet, but
yeah. I was talking to a bunch of kids at the business school, and they were oh, you're working at a startup company, and I'm yeah, and they're oh, I'm working at Deloitte, or I'm working at Goldman Sachs.
So that's
and I'm
still a thing.
Right.
Yeah, they think it's really cool, and I'm yeah, it is really cool, but
So startups aren't a thing yet.
They are,
Hello.
but it's more exclusive, I would say.
it's based on your friend group too.
Right.
Where we have very different friends. So my friends are really interested in changing the world, but through education or through something else. And Jeremy's are very changing the world in a
You
different
talked about
way.
doing Peace Corps as well.
Yeah, I really
Is that
want
still
to.
on the radar?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Me as well.
Oh, both of you. So, do you find so a little bit about your mom? So you guys are from twins. How do you think? What do you think? How do you think Harriet is your aunt different than your mom? They're not listening, so you can say.
Well, okay. First of all,
could you live with Harriet? And would you be the same person?
No, we've talked about
sure
this multiple times. I mean, there's some points where I get along better with Aunt Harriet than with mom, because we have different we've lived with our moms for so long, so there's obviously different pressure
Should
points.
be a show. Has there been a show where they swap?
I think the Kardashians tried to mirror them, but they're still working on the post-production.
Basically, Aunt Harriet, there's things that she doesn't bother me about that Ellen does, and I'm sometimes I'm oh my god, why? And then there's obviously things about Aunt Harriet that I'm okay, mom knows that this is something I like or something that I don't like, and it's just because I've lived with mom, and Aunt Harriet's my aunt, but I'm still close with both of
You
them.
guys chat about that? And what about if you had to live with Ellen? Could you pull it off?
I'd probably go to Antarctica.
Good answer. The And so you have a brother who's working at Indeed.
I do.
And you have a brother that we can't find. We don't know where Max is.
I think he's in LA, but who knows?
He's in LA. He's constantly moving and shaking. Whereas Eli likes
Only
to be
by
in one
Uber.
spot. Eli will be at this one desk. Yes, sir.
This is my brother as well.
So in terms of, you guys don't know what it was like pre-smartphone, so it's not your fault. Like, what do you think the most important
I think that's the
reason
beauty of us, though.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, I'm bullish, but what is... You use your phone completely different than most people. I think you're unreachable. If someone wants to reach Jeremy and Bernick, how do they reach you?
By pigeon.
Pigeon, telegram.
Why is it that
signal.
Why is it that you are different about the phone? So let's talk about it. Is it like a cool thing, or is it like you just are harder to reach? Although I reach you when I want.
Right. I'm both bullish and bearish on it. I think there is nothing that has shaped human history more, or probably will change human history more than the access to an omnipresent cell phone on you.
Yeah.
Because it's become like a third arm or a second brain.
Uh-huh.
Kids our age, it's instinctual. We know like even like the macro movements by heart. We probably do them in our sleep. And that scares me.
You mean like photo more than anything? What do you think?
Well, no,
like without even looking at my phone.
We're just ingrained because it's
crazy.
It's probably 80% of our communication.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many different interfaces and
But
mediums by which you can
didn't even get a
communicate.
smartphone until recently. And
No,
then you
that
lose
was
it.
Ruben. I've had one since like,
Okay.
but that's the problem. I've had one since I was 10 years old.
Okay.
And that might be incredible to listeners, but it's really like all I know. It may be the first skill set I ever picked up.
Mm-hmm, the swipe or the whatever.
Well, just
The
knowing
language.
the language of communication through Snapchat or through Instagram, because each of those are its own beast. And today it's like people will talk about how like you act at a country club amongst older guys or in the locker room. To us, it's going to be how you interacted on Instagram, how you acted on Twitter, how you interacted on DMs, because it's our language, which is really crazy. So.
But you see different, like you probably have some friends that annoy you with the use of your phone. Whereas you may annoy me or you may annoy me, but relative to your peer group, you're the most normal. So what are the bad things that you see amongst your peer group? Because if you guys, like, what are the things that bother you about how when you're with friends, or is there something that bothers you? Because you don't even know what the problems are. We didn't have phones, so we just hung out, and if you didn't have perfect plans, you just stayed home because you didn't want to go out to a bar where no one was at. Like it was a lot different. Now you can just wait till the last second and go. But what is the bad behavior with the phone? What is if you're 21, what's bad behavior?
So Jeremy took me to a concert my freshman year, and like I was like taping everything on my phone, and he literally was like, put it down, like take it away. And ever since, like I kind of like, when I'm like listening to music or like when I'm like at a bar or like whatever, like I kind of like put away my phone just because like otherwise I'm not enjoying where I am or like what I'm doing. So I think that like people that constantly like have their phones like out like recording stuff or like that are like constantly Snapchatting are so annoying. Like the people that also like will send a Snapchat to their story and to every single person
I
on.
don't understand what you just said.
What's fascinating? Do you hear that? She just used Snapchat as a verb. Snapchatting. It's like it's so like our language.
But there's no Instagramming?
There is.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
it's everything.
Instagramming.
No, but
everything
Snapchatting is
Instagram
more of a
this.
verb than Instagram.
No, it's just like
I mean, all of it.
all of it's like
We've economized it to our own.
But like Snapchat is like I think more accessible than Instagram. Like I still like if I want to send like a quick video to someone, I'm not going to use my Instagram story. Like it's become more popular, but like I'm
would
still
use Snapchat
gonna.
for that?
I
you
still
wouldn't just film
Snapchat.
it on your iPhone and text it?
No,
Huh.
Yeah,
Jeremy does.
There's a compulsion to document, archive, and then share, because it's proof of life almost. It's proof of like social clout or awareness of that you're doing something cool. It's the new metric. So maybe the old metric was wearing a Rolex or wearing or having
A car.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. In
Having
your
a
day.
car.
Right, like driving up with a cool car and a cool
Yeah.
girl on your lap. And
That
now it's,
really has no clout anymore.
I mean, I'm sure it has
sure it
some
may
clout,
a little
but-
bit, yeah.
It does.
But there's new currencies in our generation.
And what do you think the best current, like what works for you with the ladies? What do you think it is?
Probably just being genuine.
That's bullshit. Okay. And then what about you with the ladies, right? No, I'm kidding. So do you vet his girlfriend?
Oh, yeah.
And do you listen to her advice?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. But then you still do what you want to do because you're a guy.
Yeah, in some degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what is the annoying habit that someone just uses their phone? Like, and we know, like, I think it's not, I look at Max who's addicted to his phone and I feel bad.
Well,
I don't want to tell him what to do because that's
Right.
like saying don't smoke.
Right.
Hopefully, how do you get off of it?
It's just like a process. I'm still really bad about it. Like when I'm like talking to people, like it's like I'm still listening to them. I'm just like on my phone, but I'm not picking up everything that they're saying. So like it's more like a conscious effort to like put down my phone and say, okay, like this is like a time to pay attention.
You just
Yeah,
don't
like
have to train yourself.
exactly.
Like food.
So like
I don't know if it's as bad as sugar. Like I'm still addicted to sugar, and so I feel we had sugar.
See,
No,
I think
it's worse than sugar, yeah.
Because it's like it's almost like your bloodstream. It's there's so many facets of which you use it in a day-to-day scenario. Not even just communication, but like looking up directions, all this. So there's actual use value to it.
For sure, maps is
Which is what's painful is without it you're
lost.
Yeah, you're debilitated. You can't do
You're off the
anything.
grid.
And especially with people who like us started with
Yeah,
this and
yeah.
never started with
Yeah.
like having to do it on your own and be very resourceful.
So what do you think the app if you had a phone and they were going to take away one app
Yeah.
that made you feel that fucked up your world, what would it be?
dude, maps. I like get lost so
I
often.
agree. That's the one. Max, when we took away his phone and he didn't know how to leave he just stayed at home. I'm like, dude, you're not grounded. He goes, well, I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So would it be maps for you
That's
or
a good
something?
question. I don't know if it's an app per se. So the way I'm using my phone is weird these days. It's like a hybrid of like Wikipedia, YouTube. It's more like maybe Slack to talk to my friends, but it's like using it as a way to like stay informed, stay connected. So it's not as much to like enable behavior, I guess.
Okay. But you use it more for communication.
I use it, yeah.
It's your TV as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't even like using my computer to like watch TV. Like, it's
It's amazing.
It's on my phone.
Right? It's
You too?
tiny. No, I mean, at some point, yes, in high school, but it's amazing. It's so small. It's so accessible. We don't even think about the cost of it, like how much bandwidth we're using or any of it.
And so how many cousins are at the school with you?
10?
At the peak, it's 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's including Knox side.
Right.
So how do you guys have a group chat?
Yeah, we have
Could be.
GroupMe. So like
I've somehow stumbled into that once
Yeah,
or twice,
yeah,
and I'm
so
like, remove me now.
And Bubby
Remove
has
me
to.
and kill me.
So, if like we have significant others that have like been with us for a while, like we'll add
You'll
them
let
to
them
the
in?
group too. Yeah, like Sophie's in it, Andy's
say
in
they
it.
break up.
Yeah, if they break up, the funniest
She's
part is,
out.
yeah, Alex like was dating that girl Ariel for a while, so he like deleted her. It was hysterical.
He made the call? Who makes the call?
It's almost as big as breaking up itself, like the removing from
Yeah,
the GroupMe. It's
you're like, oh, something happened.
finally cut off.
We literally were like, oh, this happened.
so top apps? You guys Snapchat?
No.
Nope, I don't have it. I've never had it.
Max,
I
you use Snapchat.
I use Snapchat like not as much as Max. I use it once a day to like talk to like two people that don't have Instagram.
Yeah. Stories took over. I think it was 2015, 2016 when they enabled that feature, but
But it's not just about stories. It's about everybody already being on Instagram. Don't you?
Yeah.
I don't direct message, but it
There's
sounds like you
probably
guys direct message.
yeah, there's probably 3.
So you use it as communication?
Yeah.
I use
too?
it, yeah. I like I'll reply to people's stories. Like I'll just like
It's a minimalist dream of Facebook. Like
Yeah.
it's got all of the core features of Facebook, but none of the pay, none of the wonky interface, none of the.
But you still need Facebook because of events and group, and like you threw a party
Yeah.
and you
Right.
guys. So all this
But I
talk
promoted
about you
that on
guys not
Instagram.
using Facebook is a lie
Yeah.
because you could do that on Instagram.
no.
Well,
So
no, I
he
was-
promoted every day. He like put his story on like that. Like this was like this party happening like tonight.
The
at
ramen
11
party.
PM or
Right.
whatever.
Yes, a ramen party.
So let's microcosm that. You throw an event.
Yeah.
Which is no different than maybe someone says you got to do a launch for a product. So how do you do it?
This is funny. This is an interview question I had for Cloudflare,
Okay.
but in a different sense. So if I was starting a movement, what would I do first,
Oh,
right after
okay.
this interview?
Uh-huh. Or you're going to promote this podcast.
Right. Sadly, I would probably say I'd go to Facebook.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I own I hate
Right.
saying it. Like, as
Right.
much as I hate them, because he's clueless as a human being. Well, he's not tapped in. How do you invent stuff? But as a utility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just
Just
so
the fact
many-
that they're spamming with birthday dates, even if they use that twice a year,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
some
that's
relevant.
The only way I remember half the people's
But so
birthdays.
the first thing you do is go to Facebook. Why? And is that the right answer? Do you think that was the
I don't
answer
know
that
if
they
it's
were
the
looking
right
for?
answer. Well, I don't think they knew the answer. I think that's what they're looking
just
for.
asking.
Yeah, right. It's just a moonshot.
Well, it's also you can make stuff public, you know. So like if people like look up your profile, like you can just say make like your post public. So if you wanted to start a movement, you'd make it public and you'd say, hey everyone, go check out Jeremy Bernick's profile, and like they could see that you're starting a movement, and then they could like follow you on Instagram, and then you could start posting stories on there and saying.
You know what it is? How it's there's a different nature of viralness on Facebook than any other social media platform. Because of the share feature. So Instagram, I think, just removed it from their stories recently.
Oh yeah, they
Because
did.
we were having
So
trouble
what
with
do
this.
they do? I've never used stories.
So stories is like what Snapchat was doing, which made
No, I
them
get it.
popular. But basically, Instagram has this feature where you can post something for your day on your profile. It's on the top of your search bar, and you used to be able to repost someone else's story, and that was huge because not only could you be like aware of what your friends were doing, but you could promote other people. But with Facebook, like even parents will start sharing stuff, but it's like instantly viral. It's more rapid fire.
And so that's what you would use. And what's your job this summer going to do? Like, what are you going to be doing?
So what I've heard so far, I don't want to speak on what I don't know yet, but it seems to be a mix of content and marketing management. So doing a little bit of like developer advocacy on the side, but mostly finding a way to talk about Access, which is the platform I'm working on, as a way to bring it into like the popular lingo. Yeah. To verb it, probably to make it a Snapchat.
And they're probably 500-600 people, 1,000 people. I don't know how big.
They're I think probably privately valued at like $5 billion at this point.
No, I mean how many people?
Oh, on the team or on the team? There's probably like 20.
Okay. And then what do you want to do at Raleigh Road? I know they asked you because we've been chatting about it.
Yeah, we still. Basically, I want to like work with users directly. So support and work in the store, like just do a lot of like interface and just check out new features and see what's going on there.
So you lived in Copenhagen. What's your? How did they had an exchange program? What's been your favorite city? You've traveled the world. So what's been your favorite city?
That's a great question. That's hard. So I, as you remember, I went backpacking after high school through Southeast Asia, and I think that probably is one of the most interesting and emerging markets, worlds.
Ellen went with your mom
as
well.
Yeah. But I think in terms of right now, the coolest place in the world is probably like Berlin. Or
you liked it?
I did.
Yeah.
It just has the most. It has tech. It has a great arts culture scene. Really cool, sort of just urban architecture.
Would Rachel like it?
No, it's like the new generation's New York. The New York of the '80s, the grungy, gritty. Like you go down to the bodega, and you could see anything happen.
And then second favorite?
Copenhagen. Great design. Great.
Yeah. So you went to school there in exchange.
Berlin's where he got his earring.
Oh, that's where you got the earring on the top?
Yes.
And what has been your favorite city?
I mean, just because I got to spend so much time there, probably like the main city on Easter Island. It's called, I actually have no idea what it's called.
But it was tiny, so it's not like a city.
There was just one city like there, and that's where everyone lived. And then there was like little spread out settlements. But probably Amsterdam too. Amsterdam was really cool. I went with you, and we went for Queen's Day, and that was just like really fun. And we got to like go on a canal. We got to see your cousin, and she was really cool. I don't know, it was a really fun trip, and it was right after my bat mitzvah too. So
with Werner, right?
With Werner, who still reaches out. So Rachel got the chance to meet the AWS man Werner,
who Amazon CTO, right?
He's CTO still at Amazon, and he's still texts,
Probably
or
like
still
the
Instagrams
largest
Rachel? Do
business.
you show that off when he says that?
It's like
Does that have any
Dude,
clout?
it's like,
Does that have any clout
to
then?
me,
But nobody else is
Yeah.
like, who
No,
cares?
everyone else was like, oh,
Some
who like
creepy Dutch
replied
dude.
to you?
Right,
Yeah,
right,
and I
right.
was like, oh, like the CTO of Amazon.
Well, that's
They
the
were
thing.
like,
You guys
really?
actually say who wrote. Like, you guys are stalking each other's comments and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so
it's-
weird. You
it's-
guys have a lot of spare time.
We did.
So what do you think the coolest product is that you use that just blows your mind? Forgetting maps for a second. Like, what are you going to have to use this summer? Do you think that you're intimidated by, or are you prepared for what products they use?
I think I'm pretty prepared. It's more like their Instagram page is like really cool and like, okay, so like, you know, like your Instagram is tailored to you. So
Yeah.
like you have your own little style of like how you like conduct things. Like Jeremy has a weird collection of posts and he says like a lot of weird things and then his friends comment even weirder things and it's like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
But like mine
But he's
is
making stuff for his audience.
yeah, he's making stuff for his audience and like it works for him. But like for me, if I posted that, they would be like, did she have a stroke? And so like my like specific audience is just like stuff happening in my life and like people that I love.
Yeah. And so, what about Slack?
It's amazing.
You
Love it. Yeah.
So it's amazing. So again, this goes to the point. Is like,
But
not so much that I'm proud of you guys because that's obvious, but that I'm so bullish.
the pain of Slack though is you're on like 4 different teams by the end of it,
couldn't wait
and
to
you're
get
just
off of it.
and there's
I hate
9
it,
different channels.
But I get why you
Yeah.
like it.
You're right.
But it's like everything else. You're going to learn you're
But
going
it
to learn who
becomes
the creepy
overwhelming.
people are at the
Mhm.
company.
Right.
and
No,
everything
exactly.
else.
I think that's what's weird about this time, this like era of companies, is there's so much transparency like internally. So like people don't have any sort of understanding of like what social grace is, and so
Yeah.
they'll post something like a meme on the Slack page, and you're like, should this be on
Yeah,
the
you're going to have to
general
be really
business?
carable. When in doubt, don't post
Well,
it.
well,
Yeah,
but that's
Especially
the,
in an internal.
but that's the problem is we're so used to typing that it's like
Yeah.
instinctual, and so we don't like self-filter as much as probably
Yeah.
you did on an email or you did, because the chain of like legitimacy of Slack is lower than it was for email or it was for like sending a letter,
Yeah. I
because
mean,
you're not taking as much time.
I talk like I text, so I have no filter. But like the
Right.
email is like my emails are like where I have the most filter.
But that's
and I'm,
also
like, trying
great.
to say.
Because you can say what you actually want to say and you get stuff done faster.
Mhm.
You're not, going through the workings of, sending this out and forwarding this and all this. Just rapid fire. Everyone can see it. Everyone can act on it.
What stresses you out the most?
I mean, like about what?
Just life, or is it money?
Oh.
Is it friends? Is it boyfriend? Is it what?
No. I don't know. Just so I like took this death class this semester, and so death used to stress me out a lot, like dying and like whatever. But like I realized that like I don't have to be afraid of it. Like that was just like a
You
philosophy.
don't have to be. I
yeah.
went in my 30s. I was scared of flying for a while.
But like
yeah, I mean, when you have stuff to lose, that's
Yeah.
probably a good sign that you're scared
so
of death.
right now, like I'm just
Scared
like
of us dying or you dying?
No. Just like I like was scared of like death in general, and like I think that's just like a societal thing that like people are just scared of it. But
It should
like
be.
as I like went through this like class and I was learning about like how humans like talked about death throughout like our like whole like human span of like life or whatever, like it just like changed and like people weren't afraid of it, so I don't have to be afraid of it either. And we're never like in one place, like we always end up getting moved or reburied or whatever. So like right now I'm just kind of like stressed about like being happy, like I just like want to like
Is that a thing?
yeah.
No, I don't know.
Happy is a thing? Is that something that you guys talk about? Being happy?
Yeah, we do. I
God, we had way different problems.
I shout out to.
It was
Well, I
all
think
about money for me.
Yeah.
I was so stressed about money. So you stressed about money or no?
Not really. I think people are stressed about security, like being safe, being like.
Secure from like crazy people or just
No, secure in like like financially.
Like socially,
Socially.
like mentally, like
Yeah. I think
We
there's a
didn't think about
huge
any of
thing
that
about
stuff.
mental health
Yeah.
with our generation.
Good.
Yeah.
Meaning
Awareness, outspokenness,
Yeah. So
transparency.
So what happens when you hear about a school shooting? Like the recent one was in Colorado.
Yeah.
So that never had that when I was in school. So what happens? Do you guys talk about that? Or do you guys worry? Are you guys aware? Like when you go to a bar, is like keep an eye like for crazy people?
No, we're not as.
No,
So it
I mean
doesn't
I
come
had
up?
a friend that died at the Cal Lutheran, the one at Thousand Oaks, and like he went to my high school, and so like it's more than just like you hear about it so often that it's like okay, like this happened.
But you don't like consciously think about it.
Not when you're in public spaces. I think.
I do.
Really? That's
I don't
fascinating.
think it's worth going to events. Like,
Yeah.
when someone just pull out a gun and start
Yeah.
shooting?
I thought about it at graduation. I was like, it's bizarre.
But no, it's not a major discussion point.
I think we're so desensitized to it, which is
Yeah.
terrifying.
It's like the worst part is like, you know, like just like in Israel, like there's like certain like cities that like are just so used to bombings every day that they have like the outdoor playgrounds that are like bomb shelters, and like all these like rec centers that are also bomb shelters, and they have all these like things, and they spend most of their time inside because they're worried about bombs. But at the same time, like they live their lives and they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like with us, like we live our lives and we're okay, but like we're also like aware like there could be a shooting around.
And what about coffee? You're into it. What is that a thing amongst college kids?
So
It's expensive.
No.
Somewhat.
So my riff is that it's the most accessible but awesome drink that you can have. So
I know
like
you love it.
Well, I love it because
We're gonna have one later.
right. So there's like so many different options. So there's like your standard and then your specialty. But like all these old guys I know collect wine, and I did that for a little bit. Like I worked as a sommelier for that summer, but to like have luxury wine is so expensive and so inaccessible to the modern like 20 to 30-year-old because it's like something that no one else will understand, no one else will care about, and it's like so much overhead cost. But with coffee, it's like the most you can ever spend is like $3 or $4 unless you're adding like crazy stuff into it, which no one is that is into the like luxury side. But you get like all of the story, all of the like passion that wine has. So the people talking for hours about the soil, about the
That
climate.
happens at school?
Oh my
What a
God.
No,
loser group you're part
for
of.
like for my
Jeremy takes me to these coffee places, and these people
get
like
very
woo
obsessed,
him,
yeah.
like with like this. It's so funny. Like they'll come up to
Oh,
us
they
and they'll,
woo you.
yeah, like they'll talk to him
Well,
for
it's like going to
actual
Louis Vuitton.
hours.
It's like I could,
So you bring people into that world?
I love it. Yeah, and I think
You don't mind it? You don't
I
really
don't mind.
like
I don't
coffee.
like coffee. Like I prefer tea.
Oh, right. You do like tea.
Yeah.
but it's inclusive, whereas other luxury items or
Okay, that's cool.
experiences are exclusive, and we're all experience driven.
Mhm.
That's the whole thing.
I like it. And what's your like go-to thing socially?
Well, like I'll just get tea. Like for next year, I'm doing like that internal affairs stuff for one of my clubs. So like I set up an office hours thing. So like for 2 hours a week, I'm gonna like be at the library, or I'll be at Scented Leaf, which is like the tea place that I like to go to in Tucson, and I'll just like be there and be accessible. And everyone knows they can either find me there or like at Illegal Pete's getting Mexican food.
And then what about your favorite company? So who's doing the coolest stuff? Like you don't give a shit about investing. Rachel does, but what is there a company that like
Yeah.
you just love?
Yeah, great question. Different spaces. Love Salesforce. I love what Microsoft is doing with SaaS and with Azure. Amazon, of course, with all of AWS. I think cloud infrastructure, cloud native stuff is what's absolutely killing it.
So you're a little bit geekier. And
Yeah.
what about you?
I still like Robinhood. I like use it daily, and Coinbase is cool too. I had to like show sorority girls how to use Coinbase
I
to
saw
buy
we're
fake
getting
IDs.
Rachel and I checked her Coinbase account yesterday because we were buying.
Do you know Armstrong?
I haven't met him.
Yeah.
But we're down a bunch because you started a little late. But we're making a big comeback.
We're making a comeback.
And so I was teaching you guys about dollar cost. Does anybody in your age group have a Robinhood account?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or a Coinbase, one or the other.
Yeah.
What would
both.
you think more? Both?
I would say Robinhood more. Sort of leaking into Coinbase.
And
I
was
would
there-
say a year ago when Bitcoin was at like 15,000 or 16,000, it was Coinbase mostly.
And then what about what's the app that everybody uses the most?
Instagram.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, but do you Venmo if someone?
Venmo.
Venmo,
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Do people using
Dude,
Square
someone
Cash
paid
App or
my
no?
rent in Venmo.
No, I
Yeah.
get it. But is anybody
Like-
using Cash App?
Okay, Cash App is the worst app
Yeah.
ever. I don't
I think
understand.
it's
I
fake
still
numbers.
don't get it. Like,
Well,
and
we lost
what-
some money on it
Yeah,
somehow.
like I don't
Do you
even
use
know
Cash
where
App?
it
I
went.
didn't even know it existed.
Okay, yeah.
But
So I
the
have
app
to use.
down there. Do you guys use Cash or Venmo?
Yeah. No, okay,
there's
so I have to
there's
use.
something
It's
nefarious
Venmo.
going on with their downloads. No,
Yeah.
I know that, but everybody yells at me and goes, "Oh, number one downloaded app is Square Cash." And I'm like, I don't think so.
No, yeah,
Jack
I
inflating
have to
the
use it
numbers.
for one club, and like they're very weird about it. And I'm like, dude, it's the worst app. I'm gonna Venmo someone to Cash App you.
What
'cause I
about
refuse to
Facebook
do
Pay?
it.
Maybe. So so Venmo.
What app are you the most bullish on?
Well, I don't know about bullish. I see that Venmo is part of the fabric in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably most bullish on Bitcoin.
Really?
Even though I don't have a lot of money in it, is that we talked about it coming here. If this was crazy and we had a government that just took everything away, said you're Jewish, you can't have anything, or I don't know. Yeah, that's a fear,
right?
Because you see a Holocaust documentary. You see, I just saw the Dr. Ruth documentary. And what and it's only 80 years ago.
Right.
She's 90 years old. And she had to go to she had to flee on a Kinder whatever train and went to Switzerland with zero money. At least this generation could theoretically, because of digital banking, probably not as possible, at least in our country. It happened elsewhere around the world. But with Bitcoin, there finally is that possibility, and mobile phones. Even if they were kicked out of their country and home, they could land somewhere and have a way to have a nickel.
I mean, with digital banking, like, they still have your name and they still have your, like, so they could still track you. But
they
like
could track you, and they
But
could
the
take it
bank
away.
itself
The government
cannot
could take it away.
exist,
They can't take away your crypto.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that fascinates me, not for like the next 2 years, but for the next 100 years. Because is gold? Do you guys talk about gold ever?
No.
Yeah. So no, it's Venmo, Bitcoin, but Venmo's not global. So I would say Bitcoin. And then the second most interesting thing is probably Facebook.
Yeah. What do you think
just
about
because it's global?
WeChat?
I don't use it.
Right.
So
Well,
I don't
none
have
of
the
us would.
luxury.
Right,
I think
right.
it's unfair.
Because it seems like they've
had an unfair advantage because China has a digital wall.
Right.
So they've just like.
But it condenses all the features of like Facebook, Instagram,
Have you used it?
Is
Venmo.
WeChat
Have you used it? When you
No,
go
but I
overseas?
know people who have it.
Yeah.
Is WeChat the one that, like,
Tencent
China,
owns
like,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so, like,
You can
basically,
pay on it and
my
get your
friend was
Uber
studying
on it,
abroad for,
easy on it.
so you
Maps
pay
and-
on it,
It's
and,
like Microsoft
And the
It's
QR
so
was
code
back
cool.
in the
based,
old
Yeah.
days. It's an operating
like, you can
system.
see, like, what your, like, your score is, like, like, if you've been
Oh,
a
they
good
have a
citizen.
social
Yeah,
score.
like, it's, like, hysterical, so,
But
like,
that's
my
very
friend.
Chinese. That wouldn't fly here.
Yeah.
I think people would flip out. Now, Max
No,
would
right.
like to get the highest score.
Well, yeah, if you
But
can gamify
those scores
anything.
mean, you can gamify anything.
Yeah.
And so, do you want to start your own business ever or no?
No, we were talking about, like, I'd like to be, like, a number 2 or a number 3.
There's nothing wrong with being a number 2 or number
exactly.
3. The world needs number 2s and number 3s. What
I'm
about
okay
you? You
being
want to
a
be
number
what?
2.
You don't want to. You're
I
not a
don't know
corporate
yet.
guy.
Yeah, probably not. More alone.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Lone Ranger.
And do you have any questions for me? Oh, am I a good dad?
Am I your favorite kid?
I just want it all to be over. No. Do you have any questions for me on the podcast? You don't have to.
Where do you see the fund going next year? Like what sort of industries, what businesses are
social
cool?
leverage?
Yeah.
Well, we look at you guys. Like, to be honest, we'd like to ask you those questions because we just want to look over your shoulders and see. I think as the phone disappears, I get nervous because I don't see you guys anymore, so I don't know what you're using. And, so audio seems interesting to me, like the AirPods.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Although I don't have them on me, weirdly. I think.
Do you still
I think
use
the
that
screen.
TTYL?
No, I have never used it.
The one
Talk
that
to you
Niv
later.
showed it, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't used it. Have you used it?
Oh, a little bit. It's kind of unless
so
you
I
have
think it's still
AirPods,
early,
yeah.
but I think the AirPods are what excites me.
Well, that's what WhatsApp was doing. You would we were in Israel and all the kids would record.
Oh my God! Yeah, they
20-second,
record videos of themselves, like talking about their day or like talking about like whatever.
Well, it was just audio
diary.
recording,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, but it was, and they would send it to other people instead of texting. So it was
Yeah.
like a Siri, but
It was
Like
really
a little bit like Voxer,
Yeah.
a little bit.
I
like,
mean, my friends send me voice
Which was
messages
like
all the time.
TTYL.
Like if
Yeah.
they have something like important to say or they don't want to text it out, like
Yeah.
we'll send each other voice messages back and forth.
yeah.
But
So
that
I think
seems-
audio's the most interesting. I don't think how many investments I can
Yeah.
make in that. Probably zero.
Right.
But I worry about that because that's going to change,
Right.
my business.
The voice seems bizarre to me though, because text is so curated. Like when you're on iMessage, you pick the emojis, you pick like exactly the way you're gonna space it and capitalize it.
You
There's
also
all this
pick the way that you send it too. Like now
Right.
there's like different ways that you can
But
send
voice
it.
is so improvised. It seems terrifying.
Mhm.
But you guys don't use the phone.
What do you mean?
What
You
do you
use
mean?
FaceTime maybe, but your text over.
Oh, no
phone.
one calls anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I call all the time.
And then music. What music app?
Spotify.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's the only one.
So I hear a lot of YouTube.
Some-
I hear
some-
younger people use YouTube. No?
Yeah.
They like to see the videos.
But they grow out of
and,
it?
Like the cool,
On
like
SoundCloud too, I guess, for
Yeah.
like
Yeah, Max uses all of them,
non-music
but he says
label.
now it's
Yeah.
just SoundCloud and Spotify.
Yeah.
So I would say
Spotify for like legitimate like industry-backed people. SoundCloud for like your average guy at
But
home.
no Pandora, no YouTube.
No.
But and what about YouTube?
Okay,
YouTube is
YouTube is like really cool, but like the younger kids use it to like watch makeup tutorials or to
Yeah.
like see like the newest like music video. Like I don't care about the
Yeah.
Jonas Brothers music.
And then what
video.
about podcasts?
I like Schnitt Talk.
She talk is Barstool.
Yeah.
She just talks filthy. So
Yeah,
that's just
she-
your getaway.
She says the F word like every other word.
So that's kind of your getaway.
Yeah, I mean, I talk the
That's your
same way
cute-
that she does, and she.
To your friend.
I talk this like to everyone, but
Okay.
I also like.
You're not going to laugh in New York.
It's now in record.
Keep an eye. Can you have a talk with her? So,
No, I mean like.
have you
she-
listened to this? It's horrible.
Yeah. Every
It's
drive
terrible.
home from
Every
Tucson.
drive home, they listen to it with me. The funniest part is like they get into it too because like they do episodes tailored to boys and like they've watched.
Is there
it
a
and
guy's
liked
version
it.
of Schnitt Talk? Or is every guy podcast the same?
It's probably all the same.
Do
I
you
feel like
listen to
guys have had
podcasts?
their
You're a
time
geek, so you
for
listen
many,
to... Yeah.
for too long, so it's now time for girls' voices to be heard.
Okay. And are they're good.
They're
So
good
it's not
voices
just that.
too.
And what
They're
about
good
BuzzFeed?
Okay, I love the BuzzFeed videos. The Ladylike Girls, they're so funny, and like, but the guys don't do them anymore, which is
The
like
Try
annoying.
Guys?
Yeah, the Try Guys. Like
How
I
come?
haven't seen a video
did-
in like
okay.
over
They started
a year.
their own thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I
I
think they
think-
got laid off.
Yeah,
though.
I think they got laid off and did their own thing. That's
Got
why
it.
they haven't uploaded
Yeah.
anything.
Huh.
And
Is
then
BuzzFeed a thing or no?
not so much anymore. I get bored. Like,
Maybe because
looking
you're
at it.
older, or is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, and
So
like
they never transferred to the older.
Well, they were so Snapchat oriented. I think that's where they were really making like a kicking.
Yeah,
Because
and-
no one was going to their website.
yeah.
No one, huh?
Well, none of us. Like we would all pick up
See-
BuzzFeed off of a Snapchat.
And they're not there anymore?
Well,
I
no
mean-
one's on Snapchat anymore.
That's so interesting.
because of
Um,
Instagram.
Real.
So all the marketing is being pushed to Instagram. So you get the like sponsored ads and all of this.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I feel like all of like the new, like all the BuzzFeed articles like build off another like thing. So I'm like, if I didn't read one, then I won't get the next 4. And I'm like, why is all the content basically the same?
Yeah, it's all
stuff?
paywall now too. Like New York Times, all
Yeah.
this.
So how do you get your news?
Ooh, that's
Oh, I go on a private browser.
yeah. You can go.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means that like you can say like, oh, I want to open a new private window, and I'll open
like
like New
incognito
York
mode,
Times.
yeah.
Like and I'll open the New
Oh,
York
to
Times
get
and, like,
past the
read
article
stuff.
limit?
Yeah.
Okay, why didn't I think of that?
because
I
you're not
don't-
Gen Z.
So New York Times is
all
something
of
you were
them,
in?
literally
Yeah.
all of them.
What's
It's
another one?
Like Education Week, like I had to read it for like one of my classes, and I had to pay like $6 to read it for like a month. And I'm like, I'm not gonna pay $6. So,
Hey,
like,
don't say that.
I
But
get
I
news
get it.
all through newsletters. So like Axios, Fortune, all of those. And then like you get the New York Times daily and then
So
Washington
it's not
Post
Facebook
daily.
and...
Oh no.
And are kids being political, red, blue, or no?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone wants to be an activist, it seems like. So they'll be very vocal through social media if they have like an opinion.
What's young people's, in your group, opinion of what's going on, like with
They
Trump?
think we're pretty screwed.
Yeah, they think that they all have to move to Canada and like
Young
start
people think
over.
that?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Because
we
they just
have
feel like he's
we have
crazy or that he's not
colossal
listening.
issues. We have climate change. We have
Yeah.
Trump. We have
Dude, he doesn't
world
believe in climate
instability.
change, and
yeah.
like everyone else is like the glaciers are going to be gone in 10 years. Like how sad
So
is
young
that?
people do believe that there is climate.
Right. Universally, I would say
Yeah.
probably.
University or just university level?
No,
universally of our age.
In your travels? That's what
yeah,
you
yeah,
said?
yeah. It would
So
be
that's important. So no
Yeah.
one's listening to you guys. So what are you going to do?
I mean,
probably take over roles that are important in 10 years.
So do you think that
Yeah.
the young people will get out and vote this time?
no. I mean, okay, so like the thing is like we like say so much, but when it comes time to like vote, I feel like we think our voice doesn't matter.
But you have a ballot. You're allowed to vote. You
Yeah, of
vote.
Yeah,
course.
but like, and we vote. It's more that just like not enough of us do.
I think
So you
it's-
don't think your group's going to get out and vote?
Well, I think that it's still very like antiquated practices for voting. I think if you made it like more fluid and easier to access,
That may
people
take
would
another
come out.
20 years. for
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
guys
because
to
there's
get it
fear of
together.
security.
It took
and
me
all
like
this.
2 weeks to figure out where I was registered
That's
to
scary.
vote.
I know.
That's the problem.
Like,
Yeah,
So you guys are going to have to step up on that.
because we don't care as
Yeah.
much. But we're because of our attention spans with the phones, we have
Yeah,
like
if
a
it takes
a
2
lower-
weeks to figure out how to
Yeah.
vote. That's how they're going to win.
yeah.
Exactly.
So you guys are going to have to figure that one out. Okay. 48 minutes. Sorry I took so long, but that was fun, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Hal.
Okay, is this your first podcast?
Yes.
Would you do
Hopefully-
it again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, everybody.